Following the events of the previous episode, SG-1 arrives at a planet without a scout unit once again. The village is abandoned, which is when Tiak says that he has been to this world before. It's known as Cartago and is one of the most popular locations for Goa'uld to kidnap new hosts. SG-1 proceeds to investigate the village, but they are suddenly ambushed by the townsfolk. O'Neill manages to temporarily defuse the situation, but when they notice that Tiak is part of the group, they put up their weapons once again. The head warrior of the villagers, Hanno, portrayed by David McNally, accuses Tiak of murdering his father. Before he can pull the trigger, one of the head warrior's men convince him that blindly killing suspects is not their way, and that they should put Tiak up for Cor-Ai, a trial of sorts. The village elder demands of the rest of SG-1 to leave immediately, but O'Neill has a few problems with that. The head warrior proceeds to present a walking cane to the Jafar, which triggers a flashback within him, making clear that he did indeed kill that man's father. The colonel wants to force them to release Tiak, but Daniel makes it clear that that's not the right way to approach this problem. Now in prison, the Jafar thinks that these people deserve respect and Jackson agrees, but the colonel doesn't like the idea of putting faith into a trial that they don't know anything about. The next day, SG-1 speaks with Tiak's voice, his defense attorney of sorts, who tells them that Tiak has to admit his guilt. O'Neill obviously has a few problems with that once again, and demands to be Tiak's voice instead. Dr. Jackson is wondering if Jack is up to the task, since he doesn't take him for a diplomat, so the colonel agrees to Captain Carter's suggestion that all three of them should be Tiak's voice. The trial begins, and the head warrior starts by apologizing to Tiak for raising his weapon against him when he came in peace, which is a violation to their own rules. Hanno then takes over the decision-making of the trial and condemns Tiak to death. Obviously, O'Neill immediately objects and explains the principle of impartiality to these people, but they don't understand it. After asking the elders to take over as judges, they just outright refuse. The cross-examination begins and Tiak admits to killing the man's father, after which Hanno closes the Cor-Ai for the day. Tiak tells SG-1 about his side of the story. He feels guilty for killing countless people, but Jack delivers one hell of a speech regarding soldiers and their code of duty. However, despite that, Tiak disagrees and believes that Hanno deserves retribution, only for Jack to tell him that he'll get him out, kicking and screaming if the colonel has to. The Cor-Ai continues. O'Neill calls Jackson up as a witness and he tells the story of Share and how Tiak kidnapped her. Daniel admits that at first he hated Tiak when they started to work together, but eventually he came to realize that Tiak is a different person from what he used to be. This Jafar is his friend. Captain Carter makes Tiak tell his story about the betrayal and how he left his family behind because of it. Daniel meanwhile is going out to talk with a few citizens and find out that the villagers, when the Goa'uld arrive, escape into caves and sleep there at night. One thing that Jackson finds very interesting is the fact that the villagers leave no one behind. Either they all escape or no one does, as that's one of their rules. Daniel returns to the Jafar and begs him to tell him the whole truth. As it turns out, Tiak chose the one-legged man because he was the weakest link of the group and killed him to help the others. Jack, however, is absolutely done with this farce of a trial, and with Samantha he returns to Earth to mobilize a military unit. Anyway, the Cor-Ai continues. Hanno still raves on about the death of his father and all that. The villagers slowly realized, thanks to Daniel, that Tiak not only knew about their secret caves, but also he knew their escape tactics. He killed the slowest of the group so that the others could escape. After another rage fit of Hanno, Daniel tries to appeal to everyone's sympathy, but the village elder makes clear that the final decision lies with the victim. Unfortunately, Jackson runs out of arguments and Tiak is condemned to death in 24 hours. Back on Earth, General Hammond rejects O'Neill's request.
You want to launch an assault on them?
No, sir. I'm hoping once they see our superior numbers and firepower, they'll release him without incident.
Colonel, the United States is not in the business of interfering in other people's affairs.
Since when, sir?
Since this administration was elected. Teal'c spent many years serving the ghoul, doing some damn distasteful things. Surely both of you must realize that this was bound to happen sooner or later.
General Hammond, I have spent a lot of years in the service of my country. And I have been ordered to do some damn distasteful things. I will not allow them to execute my friend.
The general shuts O'Neill down after said colonel gets a little too worked up again, switching back to Teal'c. The Jafar is being prepared for his execution and he makes his last request to the archaeologist. However, Daniel disagrees. Jack and Sam return to the planet on their own, but all they see are burning houses and swarming Jafar. It doesn't take long for the warriors of the village to storm out and fight the Jafar, which is when Shackle, yeah, remember him, finds Teal'c in shackles. A villager helps Teal'c out by giving him a knife, and it doesn't take long for it to stick in between Shackle's ribcage. Teal'c continues to fight hard for the people, but in order to save some of them, he takes a shot and goes down. SG-1 saves them just in time, but Teal'c refuses their assistance and demands of Hanno to enact his revenge. Hanno is completely taken aback by the Jafar's behavior. He's now finally understanding that Teal'c has in fact changed, and so he judges him innocent. Yay, Teal'c is safe! Deemed innocent, and Earth has gained a potential new ally. All in all, a good result. And that was the 15th episode of the first season of Stargate SG-1. This episode is important for the finale of Season 4, but if I'm gonna be honest, I would suggest you skip this one. The detail knowledge isn't a necessary requirement going forward, and even though this episode should hit all the right spots, it feels a little boring and a bit convenient for my personal taste. Also, can I quickly mention that we have literally no idea who this actor here is. He isn't credited anywhere, not on the internet, not in the episode's post-credits, or in interviews or anything. I honestly find that to be a shame because, in my opinion, from the short time we have seen him, he doesn't seem like a bad actor at all. With that in mind, I hope you had an enjoyable time watching, and I may see you next time with another episode of Stargate SG-1. Have a good one.